Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. There's a movie that is currently playing in the cinemas in Germany called Boyhood. Now, you may not have had a chance to see it. I just saw it myself, and I'm telling you, you need to go see it. And if you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe Ethan Hawke, who's one of the stars of the movie.
Yeah, but I'm trustworthy because I'm in it, so, you know.
I know.
It happens to be one of the greatest things I've ever been involved with, for sure.
Let me ask you about that, because statistically, you filmed for 39 days. But that's a little deceiving, because that was over 12 years.
Yeah.
As an actor, how do you come in and out of a project over 12 years?
Well, it was pretty easy, to be honest. That we would shoot for about 3 or 4 days a year, but we would rehearse for about a week beforehand. So it's misleading to say it's 39 days of shooting because, well, it was 39 days of shooting and about 60 days of rehearsal and about 60 more days of prep and about 2 years of editing. You know, so the whole, it didn't work like any other film I've ever been involved with. And Rick approached me with this about 14 years ago and basically saying, how'd you like to do a portrait of fatherhood that really uses 12 years to tell the story? And it was an opportunity I don't think any actor's ever been offered before. And it was, so I loved it.
But what must have been fascinating is you have a co-star who's aged for these 12 years too. I mean, when you have like another adult that's kind of along the same lines as you may not notice it as much.
Yeah, my first scene with him, I was putting him in the car seat, and my last scene with him, he's smoking, and I'm offering him a beer, and he's driving his own pickup truck. Yeah, so that's a totally unique experience, and I have nothing to compare it to. You know, every movie I've ever done is kind of like another movie. You know, Training Day is kind of like French Connection, or Dead Poets Society is kind of like Goodbye Mr. Chips, or whatever you want to think of. But this movie's not kind of like anything.
And let me ask you, because you've done, I think, 8 movies now with Richard. Mm-hmm. As a filmmaker, how does he approach the development of characters?
Well, he approaches it much different than anybody else. I mean, he has his own process. He's much more interested in people than he is in plot. You know, a lot of really fine directors are really interested in storytelling. You know, this happens here, that happens there, we're telling a story. And Rick's not interested in, he's interested in the structure of movies, but what really most captivates him is giving a landscape or an area for human beings to behave and interact. And it's not something that most directors are interested in, frankly. And I feel really blessed to have gotten to make each one of these movies.
Now, for Eller, this is going to be like a time capsule in a sense of his life. I mean, he's going to see himself age, you know, these 12 years. And in a strange way, you can do the same thing with your life because you've been acting for so long. Yeah. You were almost a teenager, or you were a teenager when you started. So I was wondering, for your kids, is it interesting for them to go back and look at your filmography and see how Daddy...
My kids don't care about my career. Are you nuts? They care about their own life, you know? The idea that, you know, that they're sitting at home doing retrospectives of my early work is, yeah, they could care less.
They have to see Daddy in a time capsule, though. That's kind of a cool
It's
thing.
kind of interesting, but they're more interested in their own development, and as they should be. And they, you know, here's the funny thing about Boyhood for my kids. My daughter's 16, and she doesn't remember a time that I wasn't working on Boyhood. You know, I've been, ever since she had a memory, I was going off once a year to do this thing with Rick. You know?
Well, it's a fascinating work. I can't thank you enough, Ethan. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Terrific movie. Boyhood, get a chance to go see it. This is Scott Orlin. Until next time.